I'm here at the Church of the Agony and the Garden of Gethsemane in Jerusalem. Just gonna give a little tour. When you enter over there, there's kind of like a little courtyard here with the olive trees that I'm assuming were present here when Christ came with his apostles to pray after the Last Supper, and then where he was arrested when Judas betrayed him before he got taken off to the house of Caiaphas, and then the next day to Pilate. So before I go further, I just want to read the scripture passage of what took place here. So it's from St. Luke, chapter 22. And he came out and went according to his custom to the Mount of Olives, and the disciples also followed him. And when he was at the place, he said to them, "Pray that you may not enter into temptation." And he himself withdrew from them about a stone's throw, and kneeling down he began to pray, saying, "Father, if thou art willing, remove this cup from me. Yet not my will, but thine be done." And there appeared to him an angel from heaven to strengthen him. And falling into an agony, he prayed the more earnestly, and his sweat became as drops of blood running down upon the ground. And rising from prayer, he came to his disciples and found them sleeping for sorrow. And he said to them, "Why do you sleep? Rise and pray, that you may not enter into temptation." And while he was yet speaking, behold, a crowd came, and he who was called Judas, one of the 12, was going before them, and he drew near to Jesus to kiss him. But Jesus said to him, "Judas, dost thou betray the Son of Man with a kiss?" And when they who were about him saw what would follow, they said to him, "Lord, shall we strike with the sword?" And one of them struck the servant of the high priest and cut off his right ear. But Jesus answered and said, "Bear with them thus far." And he touched his ear and healed him. But Jesus said to the chief priests and captains of the temple and elders who had come against them, As against a robber have you come out with swords and clubs? When I was daily with you in the temple, you did not stretch forth your hand against me. But this is your hour, the power of darkness. So I'm going to just kind of walk around to give an idea of what it looks like here. There's a busy road beside here, and you can see the wall of the old city of Jerusalem where the Golden Dome is, where the temple would have been at the time of Christ. And I found it an interesting fact. There's a gate right up there. You can kind of see the arches. It's called the Golden Gate. And at the time of Jesus, it would have been open. They could have just walked up into it. But I guess it got walled off maybe in the Middle Ages. And it's believed when Christ comes as a Messiah to the Jewish people, he will come through that gate from the east into the city. So that's the east wall of the old city of Jerusalem. And again, here's the Garden of Olives and the olive trees, Garden of Gethsemane. And these trees have been carbon dated to be over 2,000 years old. There's a church, I think a Greek Orthodox church dedicated to St. Mary Magdalene over there with the golden domes. Here is the outside of the Church of the Agony, which inside they have a rock they believe Christ prayed on when he was in the agony here in the garden. It's called Church of the Agony, and again you can see the temple wall there, and there's the Golden Gate. You can touch actually a tiny bit of the tree here. You can see that many people have touched it. So kind of neat touching a tree that's so ancient. So here is the rock that they believe Christ prayed at when in the garden here when he was in his agony. So back out into the courtyard here. I think there's maybe a monastery over there. So that comes to the end of the tour, started over there, of the Garden of Gethsemane and the Church of the Agony.